Hello and welcome. Kasia Greco here. Welcome to the power of change and transformation. Congratulations. I'm really so happy and proud having you here. It's an honor and privilege. I'd like over the next about 30, 40 minutes, we'll see, to tell you, to share with you my experience on change, what change is, some theory with the only and single goal to show you how powerful change can be. So we will look actually at what change is, what types of change we have, and most important among all, how we can use change for transformation, for moving ahead in our lives. Might be business life, might be professional life. Let us actually move on. So, what is change? Change is a movement. And yes, actually, just let me tell you one thing. I am not trying to give you here the best presentation you've ever heard. I excuse myself for any mistakes, for any technical issues we might experience along the way with slides, not popping up immediately when we want them to. But my goal here is to share the passion, to share with you, really to motivate you that change can be your best friend ever. So, what we try to do now is to really understand what change means for you. But let me actually step one step back. Who am I? Why am I telling you about change? Well, my name is Kasia Greco. I'm a Polish, Austrian, Italian mix. I'm a multinational person living in Austria actually. I've traveled the world and I've really had the luxury of visiting so many countries, of experiencing so many moments, sad moments and exciting moments. I'm thrilled to share that experience. It has been about illness, about death, about loss. It has been about marriage, about building business, about corporate life, about becoming a mother. It is about helping others. It's all a giant bowl of passion and emotions which have been driven by change. Moments that focus, moments where we are forced to focus on change, where there's no other solution, because change is what happens all around us. It happens at home, it happens in our communities, and at work, of course. Change can be internally motivated because we might say, hey, I don't feel happy anymore. This is why I became self employed about 6 years, no, 7 years already ago, when I said, I've got a fantastic job. There is money on my account every single month, and I'm appreciated, but still, there was something missing. So it was me internally motivated, me starting that journey to first identify what it is that caused my tummy ache, my psychological tummy ache. It was my missing time at home. So what was I able to do? I needed to decide, do I still move on as always and ignore my tummy? Or do I change? And change, of course, means a lot of unknowns, a lot of factors. What about work? Where will the money come from? Who will take care of the kids? Will my family support me? What will my husband say? What will my friends say? Do they think that I've been kicked out of my office? Will they believe me that I've given up on such a fantastic job? Well, it is a giant list, and in the beginning, maybe the pain seems less to remain stuck in the situation where you are in a specific moment. But then, once you start understanding where you really want to go to, this is when change becomes your best ally, your motivator. The price is clear, or once the price is clear, the price you need to pay will really be acceptable. You can anticipate change, or it can be unexpected, and then it's up to you how you think about change. Because only then, if you think that it's your best friend, you will be able to use it as your strength and nothing which will overwhelm you. Change is a movement. It's nothing that happens from today till tomorrow. And therefore, we need to understand, you need to understand, how does change impact my life? Okay, so let us change within an organization. So there can be different processes in terms of documented, managed processes from an ad hoc process. It's about integrated system changes, numerous legacy systems, the merging of two organizations, or even sometimes of two departments, or even more of them, can be already a big change to all people involved. And this means direct employees, other people's other employees within the organizational structure, as well as clients. Will they need to deal with new people, face new account managers, new client service people, who will be the first interface inside and outside the company? Introducing a new product to the market, what impact will that have on competitors? What impact will that have on other products that the company already has? Is there any coherence? Is there any cannibalization? So whichever direction you can really brainstorm out, there is change, and that change for sure brings impact. It might be even the switch into new technical devices, account managers, Salesforce using iPads to define the best routes. So it is really, where does a company move to? How do we want that move to happen? What impact does it have on the organization itself, on its employees, and also on anyone else dealing with the company, being distributors, being suppliers, and last but not least, of course, clients. Personal changes. It may affect the new staff roles, or saying, help, there's a new boss coming. What will the expectations of that new boss be? What about the acquisition of new technology? Will I need to learn many more things? What's the new mission? What's the new goal if there is a new company owner, for instance? We need to reach out to anyone who might be impacted by that change and understand what change means, always being aware of the fact that change is nothing which happens from today till tomorrow, and it is nothing which will impact only you and your life. But there's a full circle of change that impacts people's corporations, clients, suppliers, anyone out there. But not only business changes impact our lives, many personal in our life. It can be the fantastic motherhood, illness, elderly parents, a divorce, changes in your partner's life, in your partner's business life might impact your personal life and your business life, the structure of your day, visions and goals that you have as a family union. So, what does it mean? Let me give you examples of all of those for my life. Motherhood. I always knew I wanted to have children. I believe children are really a blessing to our lives. They show us what really matters. Nevertheless, I had a plan in my life. The plan was finish my studies, start working, get married at age 24, have my first child age 25, 26, then the second and the third one. So by the age of 30, I would have had my family planning done, three children, a husband, and back into working life. Well, life teaches us different. I was 30 and there was not even a husband on the horizon. So I needed to plan all over. I needed to deal with it. And yes, I knew I absolutely want a family. And then I had my husband. We met, we got married, we knew we wanted children, and we started thinking, when is the right moment to have children? My husband was on a business project. I was leading a new business unit. There was no time for children. And if we were thinking about it, Never, never, and ever would we have time for a child. So we just decided, let it happen. And you know what? Motherhood was the best thing ever. We managed to do even more things. Your managerial qualities even improve. It is all about mindset. And when the child is here, and then when the second came, we have two boys, by the way, then it suddenly all was well until I fell sick. I had to fight, as many have to, one of those really, really nasty illnesses which kicks you out, which destroys your body, which destroys any hope. You live with fear. You have no control over the situation. How do you deal with it? How do you explain it to your children? How important is a partner, your family, your friends? How do they deal with that illness? Elderly parents. My mum fell very sick as well, and I was lucky enough to accompany her through her last months until the moment she passed away. That is also change. That means letting go. That means taking out time for your parents. And yes, it is a choice. And everyone needs to understand, what is my preferred choice. There might be divorce. I am luckily and happily married. I've had, unfortunately, friends who went through divorce, and maybe one or the other among you had that experience again. Taking the decision already is a difficult one. Living through it, even worse, until a moment where you say, what's the reason? Why is all of this happening? Changes in your partner's life might mean that you have a schedule in your life in terms of, this is when we do business trips, this is how we organize if a child is sick, this is what we do over the weekends. Both business and private life are impacted. So now, if your partner's business life changes, if his times change, you probably need to reschedule all yours. You need to see how that impacts your business. You need to understand how you best can cope with that new situation. So at the end of the day, it's all about having a clear vision and clear goals. And that might seem easy. It's one thing. I need a goal, and once I know it, I go for it. Fact is, knowing what that goal is, understanding our own vision, is one of the most challenging tasks that we have. So, why is change good? Because change can create new opportunities. You might find out new ways of working together in a team. You might find a different way of starting your day with a family, between family responsibilities, kids to be brought and picked up, and your business. There is a lot of criticism, and many, many people that are resistant to change. Why? Because those new opportunities that lie out there, we don't know them. So we really need to dare and step out of our known area and look across the borders and see, hey, what would it feel like? What will it feel like if I go half an hour earlier home? What will it feel like if I do some work at home? What will my boss say if I leave half an hour earlier? Which impact will it have on the kids' training if I'm staying 1 hour longer in the office? In any direction you want to put that, it is key and important that you understand what your goal is. But why is there resistance? Is not a strength, it is a lack of adaptability. And there again, we are talking about fear. Fear is something which is blocking us. Fear is nothing which will help us to really live through that process. So, we need to understand what are the normal moments, and it's okay, we need to adapt. We are humans. Human people, all of us, are thinking in a very specific way, and that specific way is, hey, there's something new, I feel unsecure. How can I deal with that insecurity? What do I need to do to understand it? First of all, we observe, and only then we decide, am I starting? Am I jumping on that new journey? Or will I be really, really resistant? So if we psychological theoretical point of view. So first of all, we encounter denial. We do not want change. Any change. Anyone doesn't like change. Why? Because it's a giant unknown. So we just ignore it in the beginning, or at least we try as long as we can. In a second phase, we have anger. Anger comes in and is even bigger if change is not induced by ourselves, but by something or somebody else. We do not want to change. Maybe our actual situation isn't perfect, but at least we know it and we've learned how to deal with it. Then we come into a state of confusion. So, what does it mean? A lot of points we need to understand. We do not feel good, we don't like that, and that brings us into depression. And then further down into a crisis. Where are we at? What does the future look like? And you know very well how it looks like. Once you start thinking negative about one thing, suddenly you start doubting each and every single aspect of your life, or at least your negative feelings with regards to a change in some part of your life negatively impacts your mood and therefore the rest of your life, all your environment. So, to get out of the crisis, there can be only two ways: ignore it and live it in a really, really worst possible way, or accept it. Try understanding, what does it really mean for me? What does it mean for the others around me? How do I want to change? What opportunities does it give me? And then, with that new confidence, step by step, work towards change. And this is exactly what I'm specialized in, because I've been through corporate change. I've been through personal life change, be it motherhood, be it illness, be it taking over, and suddenly me becoming the boss of my peers. That's not easy to handle. Being a woman, suddenly being the boss. Your team, you're the boss. How do you handle this? Family, I'm in here. I'm the main owner and I'm the mother. I'm the one bringing more money back home. And I'm the one who loves baking muffins, cookies, and being around with the kids at school. How do you cope with all of this? It's not easy. I'm not telling you any of this is easy. I'm just trying to show you and to make you think how positive change can be, how many opportunities we are kind of forced into in order to understand there are different ways from those that we are maybe stuck in today. So actually, I guess 10, 11 or so, I will be sharing with you different reasons for resistance to change. Why? Well, there's a very simple reason to it. I want you, while I go through them, to understand which is the resistance that you have. You don't need to tell me, you don't need to tell to anyone, but be honest with yourself and understand which is the resistance that keeps you away from change, that keeps you away from seeing, feeling, and understanding the power of change and transformation, understanding all the opportunities change can offer you. So let us start. Is misunderstanding about the need for change. Why do I need to change? I've done things like that all my life. Why should I suddenly change? Why is the company suddenly starting to look out for new strategies? We've had a great performance over the past years. Why do we need to change? The old boss has been doing things in a certain way. It always worked for all of us. Why does the new young guy want to do it in a different way? I've always taken the bus to go to work. Why shall I suddenly take the tube? Whatever comes to your mind, try and understand if misunderstanding about the need for change is one of your resistances to change. Resistance number two, and that's a big one. It is fear. It is fear of the unknown. And we humans are just made like that. We rather stick to a situation which does not make us happy, but which we know, rather than taking the risk of trying something new. Because that new, very, very often, most of the cases actually, has a giant unknown factor in it. So is it fear which causes your resistance? Give yourself an honest answer. Lack of competence. Oh my goodness, new technologies? Do I need to learn something new? What if my peers will be laughing at me that I don't know how to use that? Me personally, I had a giant resistance to mobile phones and then to smartphones. I was among the last ones to get a mobile phone. And then smartphone, you will be laughing. I got mine in 2014. Yeah, and I'm still struggling with it. Because I said always a phone is to call people. Although I do understand the luxury of having emails, of watching videos, of connecting with people all around the world. But there is still this lack of competence which caused my resistance to really trying it out and being absolutely happy to have it. Being mad at myself that I didn't try it any earlier, but that was my resistance. My personal lack of competence was my resistance to changing my phone. We are connected to the old way. Traditions are good. Old man, wise man, mom has always done it like that. Why should we do it in any other one? It might be our traditions, and in that case, it is really about emotions. How do we manage to bring culture, to bring things that we've done from a cultural perspective in the old way and adapt it to our new modern way of being? It's not easy. It impacts a lot, not only us, but all our environment, because people will look and say, hey, she doesn't behave the same as before, or he is doing it in a different way. How come? How does he dare? What does she think while doing it? So we have many, many resistances. This cultural, emotional connections are key in here. And they very often cause resistance because what will the other say is the main question in here. What would my mom say is another one to go with this section in here. Low trust. I'm not sure that this new technology will work. I'm sure that young manager will come in here, do some stuff, and, has a secret mission and be off again, and then everything will be back to normal. Is it just a temporary fad? Maybe it's not worth investing in change. No, I'll just observe. No need for me actually to work through it. Is that maybe something which causes you to resist change, to neglect it very often? Or are you simply mad at others having taken decisions which impact you, which impact your life without having asked you? Did your boss hire somebody into your team without asking you your opinion? Did your partner decide on a trip without asking if that was also what you wanted? And it's not a surprise. We need to differentiate that, of course. Did your partner take on a new job which will massively impact your lives without discussing it with you first? There's this lack of trust, of confidence. And of course, on top of that's not fair, it hurts us, and we become even more resistant to change. Even if that change might mean positive for us, for our lives, we are resistant because we have not been involved in the full process. Very powerful one, that one as well. Is it about poor communication? Very often we get so many emails that we stop reading what is really important. Sometimes, especially companies use that to say, we've told you, it's been in the middle of somewhere of one newsletter of a company memo which went out. Look out for it and make sure they've given you the information, and you can always doubt about the way of providing information, but it's been out there, and we need to steadily look out for information and things that might impact us. So have a look at you and be honest to yourself. What is important to me? Which newsletters am I supposed to read? Where are sources of information for myself on top of the human communication, face to face communication? Because we don't need to forget, dialogue is still the most powerful tool when it comes to communication. Changes in routine. This is also something which might impact our lives and which might cause us to be really resistant toward change. Hey, we've always done that like that. I've always had Friday afternoon off to bring the boys to sports. So why am I suddenly supposed not to do it like that? Why? Give me a good reason. And maybe you decided it without telling me. No, 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 no. I've got my routine. I've always been doing that for the past years. No reason for me to change. Ask the others and ask yourself. Ask the others why changing routines could improve your life. And maybe they'll give you a reason. And your resistance will immediately turn over and become power. And ask yourself if a specific change could change your routines and empower your life. I know it sounds complicated, but at the end of the day, there's only one question. One question you steadily need to ask yourself, and that question is, what does this specific change mean to me? And once you ask it to yourself, ask it as long as you have come to the very bottom. So let me give you an example. If I change my routine from every Friday afternoon, where I'm used to bring my boys to the sports camp, and suddenly my husband comes up and says, "Hey, darling, I've decided every Friday afternoon I'm off work, so I'll take care of the boys because it's sports, because it's boys, and I'm the father, and I'll do that." No, that's my job. Or the boss would say, "We have our management board meeting every Monday morning," and suddenly he says it will be Wednesday afternoon. It's exactly the same. What does it mean with you? What else could you do on a Friday afternoon? What else can you do on a Monday morning? Which impacts would you find on a Wednesday afternoon? Ask those questions. They might sound really simple, but they are not straightforward, because you need to dig down and you need to admit, you need to list up all the topics, all the issues that you had, all the things that you have to do. And only then you can see and understand and feel which impact that change might have on you. Again, that means a lot of work versus I stay and am absolutely resistant. Exhaustion, saturation. Oh, come on. Another one? Not again. I don't want continuous change. Each time I think that something settles in my life, another disaster happens. Once it's the new boss, then the car is broken, then the children have a new schedule which I need to adapt to, then my husband gets a new job. No, stop it. I don't want any more change. We are living in a very fast moving environment, in a very fast moving world. So we are very, very often tired. Our motivation is really, really low. Would change be positive? Maybe the motivation would go up again and we could live through it. We could have another smile on our face and grasp it versus being resistant and saying, no way, I'm not going to go another time through all of that. Is that your case? Be honest to yourself and answer that question only for yourself. Change in the status quo is another one. It's about anger, it's about feelings, it's about why will that change impact this person more than the other one? Why do you favor any other group or department? Or why is your husband always the one who seems to have the luxury of having it all and you're just struggling between everything and nobody sees how much pain there is in it? No. Just keep it as it is. You can have the drama triangle. You can see, who am I? Am I always the person that everything goes wrong? Or do I want to take control of the situation? Taking control means work, but it means motivation. It is empowering. And this is the best way out to transform, to use the power of change and transformation for your next steps in life. Okay, then. Benefits and rewards. What will it bring to you? What is it that you will get that comes very much in line with self interest? Our ego very, very often interferes with our ability to adapt to change. Actually, our ego, if we're not convinced that it's really good for ourselves, very, very often causes resistance. Resistance that we don't actually want if we want to feel the power of change and transformation. Is that yours? Is whatever change is needed today impacting the total of it? Or is it impacting yourself? Maybe it's impacting more the corporation than your personal. So you need to analyze how that impact will be for the corporation, for your family life, and of And last but not least, again, we come back to skills, to training, continuous education. Change is education. Change is a continuum. There's no day without change in our lives. Change and education go in line. The more education, the more openness we have for new things to grasp, the easier it will be for us to grasp change and to feel the power of it. So how can you actually peers to go through mergers requisitions? Well, it's by having a team and it's opening communication channels. You do need to understand who is involved in change, who will be impacted by change, and provide them with the resources to live change. Only in that way they will step by step, because again, change is nothing which happens within a snip of fingers. Change is a continuous transformation from point A to point B. It can be a very, very hard way if you encounter a lot of resistance. It can be a very, very long way if you don't have a plan. And it can be a very positive experience if you have a clear goal in mind and if you walk towards that goal. And personal transformation, That is always the biggest power because you can use it in your personal life and in your business life. So, yes, say yes to change. Be open for it. Be open for transformation. Be open to change and show willingness. And then you will see yes, there will be drawbacks. Yes, there will be major mountains you have to overcome. It might seem overwhelming at times, but if you have your clear goal, your clear vision, you will get the point. The power of focus. You're not a magician, none of us is. And having many, many things to do at the same time is very often a struggle. Multitasking. Yes, wow, that's great. We all need to do it. Some do it more, others do it less. But if you really need to concentrate on one single thing, one goal at a time, you can crystal clear focus on what you want to achieve, then things become much, much easier. And do them step by step, one after one goal at a time. This will bring you success, and this will allow you to embed, to feel success. If you're struggling to do 24 hours a day, 24 different things, most probably nothing will turn out really successful. So now the question is, how can I move in such a way that I am successful? Well, take it one at one, get one thing done. Once you get one thing done, next thing to do is get the next one. And from those little tiny success stories, you will build up your ego. Your ego actually will learn that change is nothing bad and that success is a great engine to go on and do it one at a time, focusing, crystal clear focus on, but just start doing it. Many of us make plans. We have post-its, we have weekly plans, monthly plans, yearly goals, vision boards, and all of that is really, really important. But please do not forget, it is not only about preparing all those things, making plans, making timetables, preparing vision boards. It's about taking action. And now it is your time to start taking action. So let me talk now about another part of it. Let me talk in business. It's just a couple of slides I want to share in here because I believe that change is something which especially we women, especially business mothers, female leaders, have the power to grasp even further, to use its power, the power of change and transformation even more. And at the same time, it's us who we struggle more and more and more. Why? Because there is still a gender gap. There is still that role, yes, but you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a daughter, you need to take care of the family. And yes, you can work. Of course, today in most countries on our globe, we have rights. We go out there, we need to work, we can work. But still, it's not as normal as being man if you're a woman and if you're out there in business. Last but not least, we need to admit that very often it is even our fault that we do not get all the help that we maybe claim for. Because at the end, can you admit that to yourself? You want to know what's up with your kid. You want to know and to be there when there's some school performance. You want to talk to the doctor if the child is sick. And you are still convinced as a mom that it's you knowing best. Be it the birthday party for your child, be it the sports festival, be it studying or taking care of your child. So very often we would even have the opportunity of getting help, but we don't accept it. It's our ego interfering here. Women in general are strong leaders. Why? Because we're good listeners. We provide constant feedback on things. And well, yes, I fully agree. Sometimes it can be definitely too much, right? And we have to admit that as well. That's just human. Be human. Don't try and pretend to be somebody else. Just be yourself. And being women, very often we nurture our employees, we share our knowledge with others, and we make sure that there is something like a collaborative relationship, a collaborative workspace. So, therefore, change driven by women is very, very powerful because they have the qualities already to drive change ever. There's another problem around female leaders, not only talking too much, being maybe too empathetic when it comes to business, but then there's this we pretend work life balance. Come on, work life balance? That's a big word. Everybody uses it, everybody goes for it. The birth of a child, the birth of a family is something magnificent. There aren't any words to express the power of love, of change the birth of a child brings to you. But balance? It's about setting priorities. It's about focusing again. And you need to understand that there are moments where your family will need you more, and there are moments when business will need you more. This is only when you can feel balanced inside. But having the day where you have 3 hours of work, 3 hours of kids, 3 hours for yourself, just forget it. I guess we all know that's utopia. And we can't go there. We just can grasp all the parts and pieces of our daily life, which for some is business only, for some is business and personal life but being by themselves, and for others, it is a family. And there again, it can be toddlers, it can be babies, it can be kids that go to school. They all bring their challenges, they all have their needs. It can be elderly parents, it can be sick family members, it can be a new business project, it can be a new boss, it can be your own company. There's so many elements, and we need to establish a network that shares and gives in flexibility where we can take whatever is needed. That is grasping change. That is living change on a day by day basis. And this is definitely something I've been through. It's 7 years now that I'm self employed, that I've created my company, and I would do it every single day again. Was it easy? No. Easy to leave corporate environment? No. Was it easy to convince everybody, my friends, my parents, my sister, other family members, that it's a good thing to do? No, they all thought I was crazy. Leaving a high management job to do a career myself? To be more with the kids? How crazy is that? Well, I did it. And I would do it again and again. Most important, crucial milestone and key learning for me: I do not need to be perfect to be perfect. As this webinar, it's not about being a perfect webinar. It is not about having the perfect skills. It's about sharing passion. It's about motivating you. It's about telling you some points and bits and pieces to share with you and show you how powerful change can be if you allow it to be. Other challenges female leaders face. It's, hey, I've said that 3 times. Why are you listening now to the male peer? Why do we disappear? What about our voice? Do we need to have a male voice? Act more feminine. Are we then not perceived as leaders? What is it? There's no clear rule out to it. But again, it's about saying, what change does it mean? How do I dress? How do I behave? Who am I? And which business skills, presentation skills do I need? And still stay authentic. Because if I would walk up here and talk to you in such a way, that would not be me. Because I'm the passionate person. I'm thrilled being here. I'm empathetic. Don't you ask me to be really, really serious with a very serious business voice. That's just not me. And you need to identify who you are and then stick to that, your personal red line. This is all about it. It's about female leadership, but it's also about many men, young men starting off their careers. They need to find themselves. Are you flexible? Do you know who you are? Allow yourself to live your life. The mompreneur and all men on this call, that's the last one for females, but I'm sure they will also allow you to better understand your partner, your wife, your girlfriend. It's about ambitions. Ambitions that you might have as partners, ambitions that young mothers might have. Juggling motherhood and startups. We know on average 60% of startups are based from young mothers when we talk about women, female startups, right? Why? Because mothers search an opportunity to do business and at the same time be more flexible. Flexible to stay with the family, flexible to do the business, maybe at night, maybe in the mornings while kids are at school. Maybe just get those 2, 3 hours in the afternoon with the children. And in order to get those 2, 3 hours, can you feel the power of it? For only 2, 3 hours out of 24, many women are willing and ready to take on the risk and have their own little enterprises. Isn't that powerful? Isn't that amazing? Think about it. What is your motivation? And you don't need necessarily to be a mom, but you need to find that one thing that really, really motivates you, that moves you. Leaders for being successful, have it all, and we can learn from them. You guys out there can learn because we need to understand, all of us, and here we are back to all of us. We can't do it all of ourselves. You can't do it all. Accept it. We're no Wonder Women, no Wonder Man. It is so important to listen to others. It is important to know your priorities. Find and establish a support system. And don't do it for the others. Nothing, whichever change you do, whichever change you envisage, it is not a change for others. It is a change for yourself. It may be that the change is not induced by yourself. It may be that the change is something which has been put upon you and you didn't really want it. But now it's your chance to use that change for yourself. So don't think about your kids, about your partner, about your work. Think about yourself because only then you will be able to move that forward, to go out. They may be positive or they may be negative. And you know, an iceberg, if you imagine an iceberg shows us only the very, very top outside of the water. I believe it's about 1/8 of it. 7/8 of the iceberg are below the water. We can't see it, it's below the water surface. And this is exactly the same with our feelings and emotions, with our decisions. Only 1/8 of any decision, that's selling decisions, buying decisions, any decision, is based on facts, is based on statistics, is based on price. The big majority, 7/8 of our decisions, are based on our tummy feelings, on our emotions. And this is where we need to get to. This is where we get people being empathetic, knowing them. We need to know them to understand what moves the person in front. If you're a manager and if you want your team to embrace change as an opportunity, you need to know them. You need to know their fears. You need to know their motivation. And only then you will be able to really touch them and make them be successful managers of positive emotions like confidence, courage, curiosity, hope for something better, and the pleasure of being part of something new. These are great, these are empowering, and they can bring you very, very, very far. On the other side, fear, stress, anger, we don't want change, we're disappointed, there's another change upcoming, we didn't want to do that, and we don't know what will happen, we are worried. So now, what do you think? Positive emotions, powerful, energetic, or fear, negative emotions? I guess you know the answer. It's about positivity. There are certain things in life we can't change. And if somebody induces change, if life brings change, as it does, in big and in small portions, on a day to day basis, it is your choice to say, I embrace it and I live it in a positive way. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It never is, or it rarely is. But if we allow fear, stress, anger, headache, frustration, anxiety, pressure, depression to overwhelm us, we will be stuck. Unstuck yourself, get positive emotions, and move out there. Knowledge, well, it will have impact on your personal and corporate life. I'm just saying I did right corporate life. See it as cooperation, cooperation in corporate business, cooperation with all those that are in there with your team. Be a leader of change, embrace change and see it. See how powerful it is and can be. I can be a girl at high school, but have no resources for university. So it doesn't really matter that I've been the best. If I've no resources for university, I might as well have not studied at high school. But if you have a clear goal and vision ahead, you will find a way. You will find contacts. You can initiate a steep career and have a successful family life. A happy woman today. I've been allowed to accompany one of those fantastic young women. She had basically that step by step approach. And it's amazing. And there was no hope, no money, no possibilities. It was the positive mindset of grasping change, of allowing change to come, on putting herself on a completely new adventure. Operation, of course. So many companies now go from manual to automated systems. That is about education and all the new technology stuff. Client density changes, stakeholders want things, employees. It's about change process, management processes. And there's only one successful point to it. You need to support, talk to them. You need to understand what moves them. What are their fears? This is done in a two-step process. One is the emotional part, the empathetic part, and that's the winning part. And then we have the part which is about business rules, about business programs, about business projects, and you go and then do the turnover of it. But first, it's about clear analysis of each local situation, and we have that in big and multinational companies. Global headquarters decide something, and it's your task to support the think global, act local. Be a network between all main stakeholders, building bridges. That actually should be fat and bold and colorful in here. Because building bridges between technical architects and commercial needs is one example here, but it's actually among all stakeholders need to communicate. Communication is so powerful. Dialogue is the clue to all of it in a common language. And of course, we are not talking here about Spanish or English or German or French or Italian or Polish, whichever other language you might speak, you might know. No, it's actually about speaking about the same thing. And let me tell you one short story here. As I mentioned already, It's been about 7 years that I've opened up my own company. One of the first things I had to do is buy myself a laptop. Well, you would think that's quite easy and straightforward. Well, no, it wasn't. Almost 20 years in a corporate environment, there was a giant IT department taking care of me. I had everything. I didn't even have to ask for it. I don't know how, but they knew what I needed and they would give it to me. And if something wouldn't work, I just needed to dial their number and they would fix it. I never worried about it. And now suddenly self-employed me with myself, a one-woman show. Well, I went to one of those big stores where they sell all types of laptops and PCs and printers and all the stuff you need for an office. There was a young guy selling. He was very, very ambitious. And you know what? Both of us were really, really frustrated. We ended up both being depressed because I wanted to buy a fast laptop and he was trying to sell me terabytes and gigabytes and I don't know what else. And I just wasn't sure if I would get the right thing. And he didn't understand the world because he would tell me all the specific technical details of all the laptops out there. But I didn't understand him. And he didn't understand me. We were speaking two different languages. A few days later, I met a woman and I told her, oh, I'm just too stupid. I'll never be a company owner. I'm not even able to buy myself a laptop. And you know what she told me? Well, actually, she asked me, what is it that you need? And I told her a fast computer. Then again, she would ask me, what do you do with that computer? And said, well, I do a lot of PowerPoint, I do a lot of webinars, I'm a lot on Skype, and I travel a lot. So it shouldn't be really too heavy. She presented three laptops to me, telling me this one has a great graphic card, this one is very light and great for travel, and the other one has a really long-lasting battery. These were three options I had to make a choice of in a language which I understood. And you know what? I spent $300, $400 more with her than I would have spent at the other store. But I did it, and I still today, if I need anything for my office in terms of computers, printers, whatsoever, I contact her because she speaks my language. And this is true when you have to deal with sellers, when you have to deal with buyers, when you have to deal with your peers, with your family members. Do you all speak about the same things? This is a big question because not all words mean the same thing to all the people around you. Chance. What are your challenges? Are you ready to take them on? You can sign up right now below here. Sign up for a free call with me, and I'm enthusiastic. I want to talk to you. I want to listen about your challenges. And my goal on that free call will be to empower you and to let you know that you too can embrace change and love it and make it your best friend ever. It's meant to be about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but don't worry. If you will need 30 or 40, even 45, I will have that time for you because I know how powerful change it is, and that is my mission, showing it to all of you how powerful change is, how powerful change can be, and how it can become your best friend ever. So make sure, take and write it down. What is your biggest challenge right now? Why are you on this call today? What is motivating you? And if there's one single thing that you could change today, right now, if you had that magic wand, what would it be? Be honest to yourself. And I'm not talking I want to be a millionaire overnight. And I'm not talking about I want to find the prince tomorrow to get married. Be realistic. Be honest to yourself. I'm not able to fulfill miracles. I'm able to support you, to guide you, to bring you on your route towards living change in a positive way, towards seeing that light at the end of. So it is really your chance. Sign up now. Let me support you. Let us here at Love Change support you. I've put here some quotes around change because change is the law of life, as John F. Kennedy said. And those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. And you don't want to miss out on the future. So I'm looking forward to changing with you, to guiding you, to helping you, to motivating you. Sign up right now, and I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Thank you and goodbye.